Welcome back to another explainer. Look, if you're totally burnt out on the same old boring party food, well, you are in for an absolute treat today. We're going to dive right into your ultimate guide to totally upgrading your next party menu. Specifically, we're focusing on how blueberry sliders are made. We're breaking down a recipe that literally flips the script on traditional barbecue. Blueberry chipotle barbecue chicken sliders. I mean, just listen to how the original recipe describes this masterpiece. Tender shredded chicken is coated in a sticky blueberry chipotle barbecue sauce, layered onto soft slider buns, and baked until warm and melty. Seriously, if that doesn't immediately grab your attention and make your mouth water, I honestly don't know what will. It perfectly sets the stage for exactly how these amazing sliders come together. All right, let's jump into Section 1, the sweet and spicy hook. So, check out this flavor foundation. On one side of the ring, we've got our sweet elements, right? A full cup of blueberries, half a cup of blueberry preserves, and a tablespoon of brown sugar or honey. But here's the kicker. To keep this from just tasting like dessert, we balance it out on the other side with some serious heat and tang. We're talking 1 to 2 chopped chipotle peppers, a tablespoon of adobo sauce, and a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. It's this absolutely perfect balancing act between sticky sweetness and that zesty, smoky heat. Moving on to Section 2, gathering the ingredients. Welcome to the pantry phase. Okay, so here's where we bring in the heavy hitters. First up is our savory foundation. You're going to need about 3 cups of cooked shredded chicken, 3/4 of a cup of your favorite barbecue sauce, and then our essential spices. That's a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, for that classic outdoor grill flavor, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. These savory elements, they're exactly what's going to anchor all those crazy sweet and spicy ingredients we just talked about. But hey, the chicken is really only half the story here. We've also got to prep our buns and toppings. You'll need a dozen soft slider buns and 6 slices of cheese. You can go with pepper jack or cheddar, totally up to you. Then, for the finishing magic, 2 tablespoons of melted butter, half a teaspoon of onion powder, and some fresh chopped green onions. These right here are the crucial finishing touches that are going to transform our chicken filling into this incredibly cohesive, warm, melty sandwich. All right, let's get into Section 3, crafting the signature sauce. This right here is pure alchemy. So this is where the real transformation happens. Step 1, you literally just toss all those sauce ingredients, the berries, preserves, barbecue sauce, peppers, vinegar, sugar, and spices, right into a saucepan. Boom. Then, in Step 2, you cook the whole shebang over medium heat for about 8 to 10 minutes. But pay close attention to this next part. You want to be gently crushing those blueberries as they cook. Why? Well, the physical act of crushing them releases all those natural juices and totally deepens that vibrant, fruity flavor. Finally, Step 3, you fold in your shredded chicken and just let it cook for another 2 to 3 minutes. Now, you might be wondering, how do I actually know when Step 2 is done? Well, you're looking for 2 exact textural words: thick and glossy. That is your primary visual cue. As you're crushing those berries and stirring that simmering pot, you want to watch the liquid reduce until it transforms into this beautiful, thick, glossy glaze. Once you see that, you know for sure your sauce reduction is perfectly ready for the chicken. And once you do add that chicken, your goal is super simple. Make sure it is completely coated. The absolute crucial point here is ensuring every single piece of that shredded chicken is thoroughly bathed in that sticky sauce during those final 2 to 3 minutes of cooking. You definitely don't want any dry, unflavored chicken hiding in your slider. Nobody wants that. Okay, Section 4, assembling the sliders. It is time for the build phase. First things first, slice the slider buns horizontally. But here's the trick. Keep the individual buns connected. This is a pro-level time saver, honestly. Instead of painstakingly building 12 tiny individual sandwiches, which takes forever, this connected bun slicing technique lets you just drop the entire bottom half of the buns right into a greased baking dish as one giant sheet. It is so incredibly efficient. Next up, you're going to spread that blueberry chipotle chicken evenly over the buns. I want you to picture this for a second. You're taking a spatula and creating this generous, perfectly even layer of that sticky, warm, wildly flavorful chicken across that entire soft bread foundation. I mean, the smell in your kitchen right at this moment would be absolutely unbelievable. Then we add the glue. You top it all off with your pepper jack or cheddar cheese slices. Whether you choose the extra spicy kick of pepper jack to complement the chipotle, or you decide to go with the classic creamy melt of a sharp cheddar, this cheese layer is absolutely vital. It's the magical ingredient that binds the top and bottom of the sandwich together once it hits the heat. To cap off the whole assembly, you just place those top buns on, and then, okay, get ready because here is the secret weapon. You brush them with that melted butter mixed with onion powder. This savory onion butter glaze, it's the absolute secret to achieving a perfectly golden, crispy, and just incredibly flavorful crust right on top of those soft rolls. Finally, Section 5, baking to melty perfection. Quick check before your sliders actually go in. Make sure your oven is preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, which is right around 190 degrees Celsius. So baking these sliders is actually a two-part process. At the start, you cover the dish loosely with foil and pop them in. At the 10-minute mark, you pull that foil off. And then, by the 15-minute mark, you pull them entirely out of the oven. Now, what's the logic behind doing it this way? Well, covering them with foil for those first 10 minutes traps the steam that heats the chicken all the way through and melts that cheese perfectly without burning the delicate bread. Then, whipping the foil off for those final 5 minutes allows that onion butter glaze we talked about to toast up and create that beautiful, literally irresistible golden finish. All right, now for the finishing touches. You're going to garnish with chopped green onions, slice them into individual sliders, and serve them warm. And hey, that garnish isn't just for a pop of color either. Those fresh, crisp green onions are completely essential to cut right through the rich, melty cheese and the deep, sticky sweetness of the barbecue sauce. It perfectly balances every single bite. And that, my friends, breaks down exactly how Blueberry sliders are made. It's a total game changer. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Who are you making these sweet and spicy sliders for this weekend? Because let's be real, this is exactly the kind of recipe that is meant to be shared. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this explainer. Go grab those ingredients and happy cooking.